So I was logging onto Music Business Worldwide, as one does, to look for interesting things happening in the music industry. And Deezer has published a statistic that nearly a third of all tracks uploaded to Deezer, which, if you don't know, is another music distributor that practically nobody
Deezer.
uses. It's a
And
music
so wait, wait,
distributor.
wait, wait, wait. People use it in Europe. Come on.
It's very popular in
That's what
France.
they.
When I was
Yeah,
in
that's what they.
Paris, there were ads for it everywhere.
Yeah, okay.
Um, so I
As a
guess French
French
people like
person, I don't think it's used that much in France, actually.
it.
I'm
But
Just
pulling
based
up.
on personal experience. Like, I
Nearly a
was.
third of the tracks uploaded to Deezer are fully AI generated. So not partially, fully generated with AI, which, keep in mind, most artists use a music distributor to get their music on platforms, meaning that kind of by proxy means nearly a third, specifically 28% of all tracks sent to Spotify, Apple, YouTube Music, Deezer, Tidal, Napster, Yandex, etc., are very likely also 100% AI generated.
I
Um,
blame the Velvet Sundown publicity. Seriously though, because like
Yep.
everybody saw it and was like, "Oh, look at the easy money! I could do the same thing. Just throw up a song and make millions." Like it just that made it so much worse in my mind.
But there's a second interesting part to this stat. Andrew, do you want to talk about that?
Yeah. So the second number is that the streams on AI generated music only represent 0.5% of streams in the streaming pool. So, meaning, even though it represents about a third of all the songs uploaded, it's 0.5% of the streams on the platform. However, despite that, 70% of those streams are fraudulent, meaning that most of the people uploading AI music to the platform are
They're just
not
botting
doing
their
it
own
because
shit.
they're artistes and they just have to express their lyrics or whatever. They're doing it as a shameless cash grab, essentially. 70% of the streams are fraudulent. So, meaning they're botting, they're looping playlists and listening over and over again. Because remember, artificial streaming doesn't necessarily mean bots, but they're somehow inflating their streams most of the time.
Well, I was gonna say this. Like, I do think that it's a gold rush situation that'll probably die down because the publicity around it is a real thing. I see it as mostly people being like, "Oh, I'll go to Suno. I'll make a song. I'll upload it. Wait, nothing's happening. Okay, I need to do one of these bot services." Which those bot services that are like actively always promote, they're the real winners here. They're making so much money off these idiots. Which in that case, I'm kind of glad. At least somebody's making money off these idiots. And I think it'll die down. I think they'll realize that they don't make shit and it'll go away.
What's interesting, though, is who bought streams on Deezer?
Well, that's the
The
interesting
French.
thing I can talk a little bit about.
The bots are French.
Oui,
What,
oui.
what I've been told about this is that that's the thing is that they're almost everybody's using third-party companies to do bot detection. And so if you know that somebody has this shitty bot detection company, why not get your streams and your piece from them, and rather than the ones who have more aggressive bot detection?
Hmm.
Oh,
That's
wait,
a
I
good
guess
point.
also everyone is kind of looking at Spotify and Spotify's flagging stuff, taking it down. So I guess maybe that is the thought, is that they're like, Deezer just doesn't look at the stuff or care, which is silly because they're actually the only distributor that flags AI generated music at all. But I wonder if this is also a huge problem on platforms like Tidal, which have a very small user base and they pay very high per stream. Couldn't, like, if you're botting on that platform, you're probably going to get away with it more easily than Spotify. Interesting.
Criminal advice aside, I think that really telling here is that, because there's something else. I think what's really telling here is that, like, and Jesse talks about this a lot, that like a good song is really about the emotional impact, and it's very difficult to create that with current AI tools, right? It's very
I'd
difficult to
say
get.
the word difficult is wrong. The word is impossible.
Yeah, but what I'm trying to say is, like, so yeah, people aren't resonating with it, so they're not going back and listening, even if they do stumble upon it because of whatever, you know. So I don't know where that leaves us. It's just, kind of that dead internet theory thing come horribly to life.
I did a video last year where I made a secret AI metal project and I uploaded it to all the streaming platforms and I marketed it as if it was a real band with meta ads. And I made it an Instagram account and I made it fake accounts. And Matt wants to say something.
What was it? Sleep Token?
No, sleep. I wish it was Sleep Token, man. But it was a masked band just because that made it much easier to make like images. And this was before you could very easily do consistent characters and stuff and voices too. To release 4 or 5 songs, whatever we did, I had to generate hundreds of tracks that had consistent styles. So it took a lot of time to like do this. Not as much as writing the music, of course, but I wanted to see like what would people do? How would they react? Would I get would I get comments on this of people saying like this is just AI generated crap? And the reality was no. Um, I had people DMing this account saying this was like their favorite band they've heard in a while. When are we going on tour? Like, are we open for collabs? And the engagement, like in the last 12 months, 5.6 streams per listener, very good save rates, very good playlist ad rates, very good algorithmic pushes on Spotify. So as much as I want to agree from like a artist perspective, looking at the raw numbers of this experiment was like, apparently there are people who will accept AI generated. They don't know it's AI. That's really the problem. Is like I think they need to somehow find a way like Deezer to flag it because I feel like if people knew this was AI, they would not engage with the music to the same level of compassion and stuff that they did, not knowing it was AI.
No, this happened in like the stoner rock scene last year, I think, with a band called Hail Darkness, where they got praised in all these magazines and it was just AI.
Yeah, and I want to say when I say AI music has no emotion, I'm talking about the stuff where you just prompt a quick thing and like you're
Yeah.
not saying they're piecing it together with stems. Obviously, piecing together things with stems and piecing together parts
This was the
can do
prompt one
things.
though.
Yeah. So this is just
So
you writing one prompt and being
I
done.
found a prompt that fit a very specific style I wanted, and I did generate like again over 200 versions.
Yeah,
to
that's
find
what
the
I'm saying
best,
is
but
that.
there
So
was
I'm
no
saying,
like stem stacking. The only thing I
gotcha.
did was I mastered it myself.
Well, the master had all the emotion in it. That's where the human element.
You know, if you belittle mastering engineers on this podcast,
Yep.
I actually, weird, just a tangent. I actually think that mastering engineers are the most talented people because they have to have an endurance of their ear. Like I do not understand how they can hear the same thing over and over again and still understand what they are doing. Anyways, weird tangent. But I will say this. Many artists ask me, how do we contend with this sort of stuff? How do we compete with this? And the real answer is doubling down on who you are, taking off the masks, focusing on you as a person and tying it in a way. And now look, I work in country. You kind of have to do that anyways. This would never work in country music, but really doubling down on who you are.
Is that a challenge, Dustin?
What's funny, man, is I get like algorithmic AI for country and it's so bad.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is about country music. You cannot fake it. Authenticity is intrinsically married with country music. But actually, you know what, Andrew? Go ahead. I'd like to see, I mean, you did the
It's gonna be my
experiment
part
once.
two.
I actually think metal
So I
music
will
would
say when I
probably be
did
the
that video,
easiest.
everyone was like, because sometimes I use AI music for marketing experiments because like I'm not gonna sacrifice my own music for some like
Mhm.
crazy test. So I'm like, perfect use of AI. Learn some cool stuff about marketing and ads and stuff, and then go to apply it to real music. I will say people were very upset with my use of AI, and I actually had several people actually just offer me like, you can use any music from my catalog for future experiments because like I don't use AI. You can use anything in my catalog. You can monetize it. I don't care. So it's very cool that people's hatred of AI was so strong, but they were willing to put their money where their mouth was and sacrifice their own music to kind of be the test bed. But very curious to see if it would work for country because it is like a genre that's more about like connection and you know real life stories and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's so I mean, look, the perpetual argument in country is that's not real country. Like that is constantly a thing. So I think we're furthest, which is funny because country, it is being used in country, and I think ways that artists do appreciate. For example, there are companies now that are using AI to help do liners. And liners are still, if you're not familiar, liners are
Yeah.
a thing where you're
Can you
like,
explain? Because I actually don't remember what that is.
I don't know either.
yeah, right. It's still very much a thing in country and pop, but it's this idea that okay, we're doing a radio campaign and we've got 100 different stations playing the song. So as an artist, I have to get on and be like, "Hey, this is Dustin Boyer, and you're listening to my new song." Blah 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 blah. Like that. When you hear that on the radio, that is literally an artist going through hundreds of iterations. Like every time we do a content shoot, we have to sit the artist down and do at least like 10 of those at a time.
A funny thing is, so we would call those IDs, but a funny thing is at Atlantic Records, when I worked there, they wouldn't know what to do with me in my day. And they'd sometimes just be like, "Oh, you're doing a podcast. Can you just do like 60 liners with our IDs with this artist?" I'm like, "Oh, great."
Yeah, dude, oh my God, it's the worst. And so now these companies are like, hey, just do one and we'll have AI do all your liners for you. And artists are
Yeah.
like, that's amazing. Cause I'm telling you, man, it's the
Oh,
bane of these artists' existence.
It's and with a lot of podcast stuff now too, that's what we use for corrections, so we don't have to call the host, and what we use for light little quick ad things too. Like
Yeah.
change a product code, great.
So AI can be good. I was at a publishing company the other day and they were showing me how they wrote a song, they put it in, and they'd put in a couple of different voices to pitch it around and get like a real vision on it without wasting a lot of time. And it's funny because a lot of these bigger musicians don't quite understand what's going on yet. Like they think they're just being sent like an AI song. I've heard them complain on podcasts like, "Why are you sending me an AI song? Did you write it?" "Yeah, I wrote it. I put it in your voice and gave it like a drum beat so you knew what the hell you're listening to." So I don't know. It's interesting to see how the industry is actually trying to utilize it, but it's brutal to hear like a third of these songs are AI.
Can I do a
Well,
counterpoint? The Velvet Sundown is now at the exact amount of monthly listeners they were at before all the attention, and it was just their playlist scheme.
Yeah, so they're just going back to bots because people know. I do think like people can generally tell if you get into these genres that require a certain level of authenticity.
yeah.
And the interesting thing, Velvet Sundown was the most talked about, but like Aventus is a AI country artist that has over 1 million monthly or had over 1 million monthly listeners.
Wait, what's it called?
Aventus, they are an AI country artist that was actually bigger than the Velvet Sundown. And then now there's another one that this article talks about called Blow Records, which has 1.7 million
Wow. That's
monthly listeners. And also, just fun fact, if you go on Spotify and just search for AI and sort by artists, the number one option, Beats by AI, has 500,000 monthly listeners. And if you click through a few of these, you will find a few other AI ones. So some people aren't even subtle about it. They just like have AI in their name to make
Which
it
I
obvious. But I think
honestly,
from that perspective,
at least that's
at
great.
least they're being honest about it. And
yeah.
Aventus, I think, is the same thing. If I recall, some of these AI services or fake artists have started like just admitting it in their
So
just
what
thing.
do we
Like, this
think
is a
about
combination.
the artists being hired by Suno to market Suno as a tool to like help artists
That
create?
blew my mind that who was it? Sad Alex that had a ad put out, and I don't know her, but I was a little surprised, and I could see this idea of an artist wanting to like take control of the situation. Like, okay, you want to do this on our terms. You want to involve the artist. Let us take control of the situation. But it's still surprising to me to see artists,
And
embracing
there's not
that.
just one. The
There's a
one I
bunch.
saw was Sad Alex. But if you go on Meta Ads Library and you look up
For
Suno,
Suno.
you can see all the ads Suno is running right now. And you can see all the collaborative ones. And so they did with Sad Alex, Jay Escar, V Always Here, Rocklow, Austin Cannon, Mystique,
not
Timbaland.
my cousin Austin.
Do you know them?
No.
Devin Ibiza, Timbaland again. So like it seems like this is part of their strategy. Marketing is to start pivoting it as like a tool for artists, because this video that I saw as an ad was this artist was saying, you guys only hear like a small fraction of what I actually write and release. And like I can't record every idea that I have. What I can do is I often demo and draft out and write lyrics and stuff for this. So her thing was like she uploads the song to Suno and generates a full version of it and shares it with her fans. So it is her songs, and
It's
Suno's
just
working on the
produced through
studio feature.
Suno.
Exactly.
Yeah, because I
And
think the way it was presented is like I can't afford the studio time and the session musicians, and I don't know how to play every instrument I want to play. Take that as you will. I will also say that obviously there's been less dramatic examples of this with like samplers and synths for like years, right? Where like it doesn't matter if you don't know how to play flute because you can get the flute plug in and write it, you know?
I play instruments on literally the keyboard all day, all my life. I mean, yeah, it's been good there since the 70s. I will say the counterpoint to all this is that, Carol Cadwalader, former editor of The Guardian, she did a TED Talk on this. And what she talks about is like what these artists don't get is they're training their data on this. They're
Yeah.
doing this, and which she compared it to sleeping with your rapist.
Gee,
Christ.
oh.
I'm going to be honest.
No, you're quoting. I mean, but that's
I'm going to be honest with you. I'm on her side on that.
yeah, I mean, I would never upload one of my finished songs to Suno just because it feels wrong. Then again, like I think one time I played with it, I uploaded like an old draft of something that was like unfinished because I was like, whatever. But the reality is, they probably have already scraped all of Spotify anyways,
Mm-hmm.
and
they got
so
all the good stuff.
I have a feeling it doesn't matter. But like, I thought there was one time when they first launched the tool, you could upload something and make versions of it. I like went to go upload one of my songs. I wanted to see like what I could do, and then I was like, this kind of skeeves me out. The idea of just straight up handing them my music, you know?
Uh-huh.
I'll tell you from a fan perspective, I hate, like, specifically the idea she gives of like, here's my song fully fleshed out, and even with the idea of supporting her, I would not enjoy that content. I mean, I don't enjoy AI content. And I don't know if because I'm a trained musician, I could hear it. I feel, what it reminds me of? It reminds me of when you'd be in band and you'd have that really good player and they would play everything on that sheet music verbatim. And they didn't understand that there was no performance in it. Like simply performing something lacks a humanity and you can hear it. It's an unknowable. And that's what's missing in all these conversations is that when I hear this music, it's like listening to somebody play perfectly off of sheet music. There's something missing. And I think that intrinsically we all kind of hear it and feel it. And we're drawn towards the things that are real.
There was a really good Switched on Pop episode about this a few weeks ago.
That's literally what I was about to say.
Well, go listen to stop listening to us and go listen to that.
But we can hear it. We are all musicians, producer, various things in the music industry. And so, but like, you've probably all had this interaction where you're hanging out with like your parents or an uncle or something, and they're scrolling through Facebook and like, they're like, oh, have you seen this video? Isn't that amazing? And it's like just straight up AI.
It's a
video,
Jesus like
which-
pulling giant whales out of the ocean. Like it's just ridiculous.
Yeah. And like it's AI generated video is less realistic than AI generated audio. And they're falling for that.
Yeah, but those
And
are boomers. I think young people, they'll be dead in 20 years. Like the
One day
young
you will
people,
be a
I think, will
boomer,
know.
Dustin.
Well,
Well,
I
no, technically no.
yeah, technically no, but the thing I always go back to is that what somebody who's like, for example, a record producer or trained in music theory is they can say, this is why that's wrong and this is how we fix it. Whereas a lot of people can just do intuition of like, that's not right and I can't quite put my finger on what it is. My wife can often say, that doesn't sound quite right. She has no vocabulary for what's wrong with it.
yeah, but that is a good point. There is a difference in not just like flagging it, but like, a lot of non-musically inclined people they'll notice some things off, right? And someone did a study even of like they pitch corrected a song and they showed them the unpitch corrected and the pitch corrected, and the person couldn't say why they liked one better, but like 10 out of 10 people said they liked the pitch corrected one better.
Yep.
They didn't know why though. And,
Yep.
and like,
They liked the pitch corrected one better?
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, because if you hear a song
That's what
and
you're
one
used
is
to hearing.
more on pitch,
I I see what you're saying.
No, it's the same way a lot of time when someone's singing like the national anthem out of the key, they're like, oh, they're such a bad singer, but what they can't place is they think it's like vocal tone or they're a bad singer. They can't place that it's actually just they have no idea what being in key is.
Yeah.
Yep.